Will Lenny Yoro start? That is the question, as Ruben Amorim hopes to make some changes when Manchester United travels to the Emirates Stadium, hoping to knock Arsenal out of the FA Cup. My name is Webb. Welcome to the United of Sport. It's an important preview day because, Man United Arsenal never gets better than that. Welcome once aboard. If you are new here, subscribe, share, and like. This is the official preview of this big football party that everybody, Man United or Arsenal supporter or not, you certainly have been waiting for this. Well, it's two managers who are in fairly different period in their careers. For Ruben Amorim, trying to win over and convince people, the jury is still out there on whether or not he is going to perform at Man United. For Mikel Arteta, he was here about 5 seasons ago, and clearly he's now being touted as a competitor for the major titles. But what exactly is going to happen at the Emirates Stadium? It's the same venue that Arsenal were beaten at by Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. Will they be able to lose a second consecutive game against a big rival? That won't be easy, certainly for Man United, because Arsenal will certainly try to make it difficult. But let's get proper into the lineups. Now, Ruben Amorim made one confirmation that Altel Bindil will be starting in between the sticks. Of course, I've seen a lot of responses about that. People reacting a lot to that, saying that it's insane, it's wrong, Amorim cannot do that. We cannot, have Andre Onana benched. People are not happy because they feel this is an important game where he's supposed to field his A team, but I gave my explanations as to why. I would understand if he did so. Honestly, I would have preferred Onana to start in between the sticks, but again, make decisions and back them. So if he's choosing to rotate his goalkeepers like this, I have no issues with backing the boss because I trust him fully. But getting proper into the outfield players, Lenny Yoro comes off the bench in the previous game against Liverpool, and he makes an important sprint, makes two interesting. One, it was a steal. I think goes into a tackle and wins the ball proper against the best, hottest goal scoring guy in the Premier League in Mo Salah. Then another time he blocks a shot. I think it should have been from, was it McAllister? Whose shot was it? But clearly, Amorim is confused when it comes to his backline on who to start and who to rest, because he said it himself in his press conference that in certain positions he gets a bit of headache because all players seem to be good, understanding how he wants them to play. They all seem to be performing at the same level. So he just closes his eyes probably and says, let this one start. So the easier thing for him is to choose the more rested player. And I'm thinking it's an it's a good headache for any manager for you to have good players fit, but players at the level you want them to be, and you then spoiled for choice on who to start and who to rest. But the thing though is, if you look at this Man United team, for me, the biggest positive we've got to take out from, I think, our run lately, it's not in the results, but it's in the ability to keep players fit. I do remember before, it was difficult to go 3-4 games without having marquee players falling off because of injury. But you realize that now Man United players are not really falling off, and it's not by mistake. Before, under Eric Ten Hag, I remember Wayne Rooney saying that it was a thing of players hiding behind injuries not to play because did not want to play for the manager. But I don't know whether that was true. Perhaps it was, perhaps not. But I think also Ruben Amorim must try to come up with solutions by rotating the team, and meaning certain players have been given enough rest because games are too many. And if you rotate them like this, certainly you're giving them a chance for their bodies to recover and rest, and also even mentally for them to feel okay, and also ease the pressure on themselves. So I think for me, Ruben Amorim's first solution in terms of managing the injury situation has worked, and that's why we've got a fit squad for consecutive games, which I think gives him options in terms of depth and players to select from. So that's a big credit that people are not giving much attention to. So it's a good thing. But you look at this game and you're thinking, you're taking on an Arsenal team that is, quite energetic. They'll certainly be, they've been looking a bit subdued in the past games, but you expect them to be psyched up to come fully energetic in this one. And I think a backline that will not have Lenny Yoro will almost be perhaps lacking in physicality in a way, because if you put Martinez, Delete, and Maguire there, good as they are, more experienced players. And someone was asking me about the balance of experience and youth in Man United and whether it's good. I think actually United has a very good balance of experience and youth, because you look at players like Onana, look at Martinez, Delete, look at Maguire, Bruno, look at Dalot, look at Mazraoui. These are experienced players. I think there is a good balance in terms of experience and youth. So you look at this game and you're thinking, if you're playing a youthful Arsenal at home that will be hungry and trying to kill you off quickly, you might need a bit of physicality in there, and that is what Lenny Yoro gives you that you might not get from both. And I'm talking him being able to run. You saw the sprint he made to chase down Mo Salah. I'm thinking that that physicality might be needed, that youth might be needed to balance it up. So, and that's why for me, in my potential starting 11, I would rest. I was torn between resting Maguire and Delete because they both played a very good game against Liverpool. The fact that Delete is the one who came off for Lenny Yoro to come on, I think if my memory is serving me right in the last game, I am thinking it's Harry Maguire who might be sacrificed and rested. It's not anywhere about who is better than the other, because if you ask me, they are probably at the same level. Perhaps Maguire, a more leader, a better leader, organizer that you might need maybe in such a game against Arsenal. For that, you might need him there if he's in such a good form. I'm just thinking at his age and how he was struggling with injuries in a way, you might want to rest him a bit perhaps and trust Martinez, who is untouchable at this point. He's even scoring goals now, but also he's a guy who is a big game player. I think Martinez has proved to be Man United's big game player lately. Before we were all mostly focused on Rashford. I think Martinez is proving. You saw him against Man City and now against Liverpool, even scoring a goal, but also had a very good game for himself. So I'm thinking Martinez is quite untouchable, but also he's a naturally footed player we have in the back line. So you have Martinez there. Then I would put Delete perhaps and Lenny Yoro on the right. Then for Mazraoui and Dalot's positions, of course, Dalot played a very good game. With Bruno, I thought their left wing was better against Liverpool. If they can do the same thing, because you get a sense that the challenges they might have perhaps expected and prepared for from Liverpool are not so far off what they would expect from Timber and Arsenal. So I'm thinking if they can be at the same level, they will still maintain them on that side on the left. But also there are no options. I mean, I don't see Tyrone Malaysia, for example, who was on the bench, coming in and taking the left wing back position ahead of Diogo Dalot. So I think they will keep Dalot and Bruno there. And then, of course, for Mazraoui on the right wing back, it can only be Ahmad to deputize him. And then that would mean someone has to take Ahmad's place. But I think clearly Ruben Amorim has decided that Ahmad is one of his designated number 10s and he wants to grow him like that. So Ahmad will stay there as a 10 together with Bruno and Højlund leading the line. I'll still go for Højlund, not Zirkzee. Whereas Zirkzee came off the bench and made some bit of threat, I think Højlund's physicality can try to give headache to the Arsenal backline of or the Arsenal defenders of Gabriel and Saliba. So I will still keep Højlund up there. However bad he was, I'm hoping this week he has been helped to improve on his positioning and how he thinks as a number 9. But of course, there is a weakness. You saw a sort of a weakness. If the last game is anything to go by, because Højlund was clearly the weakest link for Man United in the game of all players who stepped on the pitch. So, but I'll still perhaps put him there. I wouldn't be shocked if Amorim, by the way, started Zirkzee as the number 9, but I would put him there. And then, of course, Ugarte and Kobe Maino in the middle. There is no questions about those two and how they are growing together. I think you don't want to mess it up and disorganize it when it's working. But knowing Ruben Amorim and how stubborn he can be, he might choose to surprise us and perhaps replace one of Kobe and Ugarte with either Eriksen or Casemiro, which would be a shock because Casemiro is on his way out. Why then do you plan and play such a big game with a player who is clear on his way out going to Saudi? So so is Eriksen. So I'm hoping he will stick to Ugarte and Kobe. But so you realize that there is no. I think the only few tweaks he can make were, of course, the one in goal that he already confirmed, but maybe also in the back line. He can also choose to keep Maguire there and rest Delete, or even pull out Yoro and maintain the same back line that played the previous game. But I expect a few changes to be made. But you look at that squad and you're thinking, well, Man United can have a chance if the psyche is there, if the psyche is up. The thing is, if all players individually step up their game, and then decentralize roles, and of course give players specific instructions on how to disturb the Arsenal team, because the thing you don't want to do against Arsenal is give them a time to come at you, because then they are going to concede so many, give you, get so many corner kicks. He spoke about working on them set pieces, saying they've been working on them a lot, and I think there was an improvement in the Liverpool game. Of course, this is now Arsenal, who have proven to be the modern set piece kings. So certainly we want to see how this improvement will look against Arsenal, who are the best at set pieces. But my view is, if players like Bruno and Dalot come and make proper deal well with the best players in Arsenal, on that wing, maybe Sterling, because of his experience, might be the one starting on the wing, on that wing. But also, Martin Odegaard is a player who can open you up at any time. So Manuel Ugart, I'm hoping, will be instructed to take charge of Martin Odegaard everywhere he goes. Don't let him. The one thing that Man United did, if you noticed, in the game against Liverpool, and I credit them for that, it was an improvement on the game before against, I think, should have been Newcastle, is whenever a Liverpool player got the ball, there were almost 2 or 3 Man United players around them. They were already quick to surround them. I thought players were playing by the book. They were getting instructions right. They were arriving in time. They were all fully focused all throughout the game. These are the small details that make you a different team if you're playing at this level against the very best team. So I think if they do the same, but also try to man mark these players, I do keep insisting, for Man United, the best way to mark right now is man marking, especially against teams that have players who are better ball users than most of your players. So my view is, if they try to keep the same sort of approach in terms of the basics like they did against Liverpool, Man United has got a big chance. My prediction, by the way, is never going to be that United will lose. I'm thinking actually Man United will shock Arsenal, but again, that will all depend on which United shows up. If it's the United that showed up against Liverpool, there is no doubt United will batter Arsenal at the Emirates. But lastly, Amad Diallo, after his contract, first game after that contract signing, you're thinking he's fired up, he's psyched up, he's more confident. Perhaps we might see the best of Amad Diallo in a long time. This is going to be an interesting game. My name is Webb. Let me know what you expect and which changes perhaps you would want to see in the team. As you do, subscribe, like, and share.